Hello everybody, Rainbow Red Panda here, and I'm sort of doing a recap of my top comics of 2013. I was originally going to do a top 10 because that was what was requested of me. It was one of the questions that I should have answered last week, but I decided to save it for the end of the year, which is the last day is today, so I succeeded sort of. But then I was like, well, it's 2013, so I should do a top 13. And now it sort of turned into top 13 plus like one of my favorite issues of the year plus honorable mentions, which I believe altogether I'm going to be showing you 22 books. So I tried, and I can't really even put these in order because I just can't. Um, Next year I'm going to try and do like top issues, but this year it would take me too long, and yeah, next year I'll be more prepared. Okay, this is like I haven't even been doing these videos for a year, so I didn't quite think this all the way through. Um, I didn't plan on having viewers, so I didn't think that I would have to be doing these kind of things whenever I started this. So next year I'll be more on top of it. That'll be like my New Year's resolution, is to be more on top of things. So yeah. Um, so this is my little stack of, I guess, like honorable mentions, and I feel bad even calling them that because I want them to be in the other stack, but I said I would just do a top 13, so I can't do that, but I want to. I want to. So this one, I originally had this in my top 13, but then I decided that I hadn't read enough of the issues to be able to fairly like say that it is as great as it is. I started reading this as an Infinity tie-in, and I liked it so much that I've continued reading it in like the one issue since, and that is Thunderbolts. I'm looking forward to getting the trades and getting caught up because I think I've only read like from issue like 13 or 14 till present, so I need to get caught up, so I'm gonna do that. Next one is, I believe it's on its third issue now. I really wanted to put it in the top, but I just didn't. But it's Coffin Hill. It's really good. I need to do some reviews of it because I haven't, but I really like it. I think the last time it came out, it was in my top 3, and I think next year it'll probably be in my top 3 a lot. So I'm looking forward to it making my list next year. Another one is Hinterkind, and I really like it too. A lot of people sort of refuse to acknowledge it and its greatness because it's new, and I don't know, some people just can't accept that it's as wonderful as it is. But I really like it, and the story is sort of going in a different direction than I thought. But I like I like what's happening. So yeah, this one is probably gonna be like the shocker that it's not in my top 13, and it's kind of a shocker to me as well. I can't bring myself to kick anything out, so that's why it's not, because I made the list. I sort of unintentionally forgot about it, and then as I was going to get all of the comics, um, I saw it, and I couldn't bring myself to kick anything out, so that's why it's an honorable mention. But it is Sex Criminals by Matt Fraction. It is a very awesome comic book. I have not heard any bad things about this comic book at all. The first edition, or the first copy, which is this one, the first issue, is on its like 4th or 5th printing. So it's gonna be a comic. I see it winning all kinds of awards next year. Like, I see this being like one of the top comics of 2014 for sure. The next one is one that I don't know a lot of people that read it, but I read it. It's Army of Darkness versus Hack Slash. So, and I've done some reviews on this one, so it's cool. But Tim Seeley writes it, and that was the one thing I was really excited about because he is like the Hack Slash, like he is Hack Slash. So for him to not write this would have made me very sad, Panda. But I'm happy because he writes it, so it's all good. The next one is something I try to get people. This is one that I've tried to get people to read, and I haven't done reviews for it, and I need to. I just haven't. It's done now. It was a 4 or 5 part series, and it is done. But it is The Mocking Dead, and it came out around the time that Walking Dead 115 did. And so I saw it, and I was like, oh, well, this is gonna be like a parody of The Walking Dead, and it's not really like that at all. The Mocking Dead is a movie, and it's sort of like the zombie apocalypse is happening, and like the cure for it, or the answer on how to fix it, is in this movie, but they have to like sort of go in search of a movie. It's a lot better than it sounds, but it's really cool, and I really like it. It's sort of, I feel like this is something that would actually happen if there was like a zombie apocalypse. There'd be like that one person that's like, no, the answer is in this movie, and I have to go find it. And like, yeah, I don't know. I really like it. I would suggest going to find it because it's really good. Another zombie one that I really liked. It was a 2-part series, and it is Zombie War. I really liked it. I thought it was really interesting. It's like warrior, like it's like a zombie army, like literally like an army. Like they have guns and warriors and things, and it's sort of all connected like by an alien that came to Earth and like made everyone into zombies, and he didn't mean to, and now like he's a target, and then like one of the last remaining people on Earth is a target, and I just thought it was a really interesting concept. Like you don't, zombies are usually portrayed as like these stupid individuals that have no brains, and like this is not the case. So I kind of like it whenever you have to actually like survive the zombie apocalypse. I like this kinds of things. And then this one is one that I really tried to get into my top 13, but once again I just wasn't able to. It's Ghosted. It came out this year. It's so good. It's probably like one of the best Image titles that came out this year, like new Image titles. It's so good. It's so like, it's basically like you're capturing a spirit and you have to capture this ghost for this old man, and it finished its first arc, so we'll see where it's gonna go from here. But it's called Ghosted, so I'm guessing that they're still gonna be catching ghosts. But it's nothing like Ghostbusters. It's like, it's better. Not that Ghostbusters is bad, but it's better. So those are like my honorable mentions. And then this one is my top. I'm not calling it a top issue because it was the best written comic or anything like that. I am naming this as like my top comic issue of the year solely because this issue made me buy other comics that I would not have bought if I would not have read this issue. It is one that I picked up. It is one of the Villains Month titles, and I picked it up the first week. The first week was the only week that I picked up every single one of the 3D covers. It's the only reason I got this. I don't read the Green Lantern comics, but I read this. I loved the artwork. I loved the storyline of it. And so this was the like prequel of the 5-part Lights Out series of the Green Lantern. And because of this comic, I bought the whole rest of the Lights Out stuff. And I stuck with it. I don't read any of the Green Lantern after. Like, I just bought those 5 parts and then I dropped it. But it is Relic, the one-shot. I've talked about this in a few videos. But I really like it. Like, you just open it up and it's just so colorful and it's just so pretty. And I love it. Like, I feel like if I was a super villain, I would be Relic because I would want all of the pretty colors. Like, that is what I would be Relic. I'm just gonna say that I would be. Like, it's just so, you can't read this comic and be in a bad mood afterwards because of how bright and colorful it is. I read Milo Xyloto this year and I went on and on about the colors in it. But a lot of people just wouldn't read it because of Coldplay or whatever reason. But this is a DC comic. This is Relic. This is completely different, and you still get like the awesome like color quality. So it was just so good. Like, it's just. And the only thing that I didn't necessarily like about the Lights Out is that Larfleeze wasn't in it. He's like an Orange Lantern, and they didn't use the Orange Lanterns at all. Like, come on, you could have done that and gotten more people to read Larfleeze that way, because I really like Larfleeze. He didn't make the list at all, but I really like Larfleeze, so read that as well. Okay, my top 13 is right here, and they're in no particular order because you just can't, once again, if I was going to put them in order, it would have to be like a specific issue, and I didn't do that. So I'm just gonna go like newest to oldest, I guess. Maybe I'm gonna try. The newest one is A Voice in the Dark. I think it's gonna be really awesome. Like, I've talked about it a couple times, and like Following the Nerd, they did a review with the author who's also the illustrator and everything, and that's one thing that I really like about it. But the story is really, it's really unique and it's really cool, and it's something that I think a lot of people would like. So, and it is endorsed by Terry Moore, which I will talk about him later. So this is A Voice in the Dark. I would highly suggest getting it. It's just now on its 2nd issue, so it's the perfect time to like get into a new series. You know, it's only on its 2nd issue and all of that, so go look at it. Another one is Death Sentence, which Monty Nero just sent out. he just sent me an email this morning about like his New Year's, how like he's done all this stuff this year, and how it was really hard for them to write the ending of Death Sentence. It is a 6-part series, I think. So it's on its issue 3. Issue 4 comes out not this week but next week, and it's gonna be really hard for me to read because like I just don't want it to end. I just want it to go on forever. It's a really good series. It's about like having the G plus virus, which is like an STD, and having to deal with it. But you also get superpowers, and I don't know. It's just like a bunch of stuff that's all sort of thrown together. But I love it. I think it's awesome. So I suggest everyone go and read it. One of the ones that I picked up this title just because, and I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did, but I really do. Of all of the Marvel Knights, they have X-Men, the Hulk, and then Spider-Man. And Spider-Man is my favorite. I love Marvel Knights Spider-Man. I think it is a fantastic thing. It is a 5-part series, and I love every single issue. The artwork is amazing in it. I can't even deal with how like amazing, like look at that, like all the little details that are in that, like you should read it. And the X-Men is not like I didn't know what to expect from the X-Men. I haven't read the Hulk one yet because it came out the week that I had like 40 bajillion comics to buy, and I couldn't justify getting it. But I love it. It's like, it's not your typical Spider-Man title. Like look at it. It's just so aesthetically pleasing. I just can't, like, it's one of the comics that I will just look at for hours. And it's not because it's brightly colored or anything like that. It's just, it's sort of like Spider-Man fell down the rabbit hole and has to sort of work his way out because he has this person that is kind of controlling him. But it's not Arcade. Arcade is not to blame for this. This is not like Spider-Man meets Avengers Arena. Arcade is not part of this. But it's really good, and I really like it. I need to be able to explain it better, but I just love it. Everyone else should just love it too. I think a lot of people have read that one, so you guys will probably know what I'm talking about with that one. Next one is Trillium. And the thing that I love about this comic is that every single issue you read differently. This is the one where... This is the one that's just kind of boring and you just read it straight through. There was like one issue, and that was this one. Issue number 3, or issue number 4, you just read straight through. And there wasn't any like flipping or turning or like... I literally, with that comic, I expect one of them to be that you have to have like a mirror, and it like mirrors the image back to you, because I love how every single issue you have to sort of figure out how to read it first. Like, that's not something that you get with comic books. And so I love that that's part of it. I think that's one thing that everyone else loves too. And I'm gonna get the trades whenever they come out, because I want to know if they're gonna keep that with the trade. Like, do you have to turn the trade like the upside down first and then read it backwards? And because I would think you would. Like, that's part of the fun of the comic. So if they don't do that with the trade, I'm gonna feel a little bit disappointed. But I love the story. I love sort of the past and the future coming together, having to figure out something, and then sort of going back to their own time and having to figure out what happened. It was like memory loss, but then it's regained, and it's just good. Trillium is just, I didn't know what to expect from it when I got it, and I have not been disappointed, and I don't think anyone else has either. So I would definitely go and check that one out. The next one has sort of been such a big part of everything in my YouTube life since it happened. This is Deadpool Kills Deadpool. It is the 3rd part of the Deadpool trilogy, and this was my favorite issue because it introduces this character who is Panda Pool. And Panda Pool was a big part of my Christmas, and just Panda Pool has just been part of my life. Like, one day I'm going to get like a big like puffy like Ghostbusters suit and paint like Panda Pool on it, and I'm gonna cosplay as Panda Pool because Panda Pool is amazing. And I really wish that Deadpool somehow finds a way to resurrect Panda Pool and brings him into Night of the Living Deadpool, because that would make my life just a little bit more complete. No pressure, Colin, but yeah, that would be awesome. Next one is one that I've talked about many times. I came upon it accidentally, but it is now a very prominent part of my comic book life. It is The Accelerators. This is the fourth issue, and a lot of people, if you've got a Christmas present for me, you more than likely got a copy of The Accelerators, because I just think that everyone should read it. It isn't something that you can find in a lot of comic book stores. Like, I look for it every single time I go to another comic book store. I can't find it. So if you guys are interested in it and your store doesn't carry it, it's not orderable as far as I know. Last I knew, you cannot order it. Like, your comic book store cannot order the issue 1 and 2 at least. I think they can still get 3 and 4, but 1 and 2 are just sold out. But you can go to bluejuicecomics.com and order it from them, and they will send it to you, and it'll be awesome. So go and support it, because I think it's a really good comic, and it's a cool concept. I really like the fact, because everything is sort of dealing with time travel right now. You have the X-Men, Spider-Man has dabbled in it. Everyone has sort of dealt with time travel this year, and the Accelerators kind of takes a different look at it as to, yeah, you can go forward in time, but you can't go back. So I like that aspect of it. Okay, next one. I wanted to save this for further on, but if I'm doing order, I think this one has to come next. It is The True Life of the Fabulous Killjoys. It is the Gerard Way comic that I don't want to end, and it ends, technically it ends today, because even though it's a Tuesday here and it's New Year's Eve, tomorrow's New Year's Day, so most comic stores are closed, so, like, New Comic Book is today. My store is open tomorrow, and they're closed today, so I still have to wait, but it's coming to an end, and I don't want it to end. Like, this is like Broken-Hearted Panda on New Year's Eve, because I don't want this comic to end. I don't want My Chemical Romance to finally be dead, and I just don't want it to end. I know that Gerard's gonna keep writing and everything, but it's like an end of like 12 years of my life at least, and I'm not ready for it. I want the last page to just say, this whole thing was a dream, or it was a lie and we didn't really break up or something. Like, I really like it. I think that everyone should go and support it, even though the Killjoys are dead. They're dead. But they will live on forever in our hearts, which I have on my shirt. I actually have a heart on my shirt, so that makes that whole thing just a little bit more personal. This one is my series that I was the most sad to see. Besides this one, this was the one that was canceled, and it made me really sad. It is Morbius, the Living Vampire. I was so upset. I was so excited when they brought Morbius back. I was so excited. He was like my favorite person from Spider-Man. Like, he's technically a villain, but he can do good things as well. He, besides Dr. Octavius, he could totally take over Spider-Man and do good things. Although, it'd be interesting if, like, a vampire's brain took over a human's brain, because that could be very interesting. Like, if Morbius took over Spider-Man's brain, and, like, they had the whole, instead of Dr. Octopus taking over, you had Morbius, like, would he still want to, like, drink blood and stuff, like, or would he just go back to his human ways? I feel like that could be an interesting concept. That should be a comic book. Like, someone from the comic book world should watch this and make a video or make a comic like that, because I'm curious to see how that would play out. Don't tell me it's not possible, because they make comic books about anything. So I have hopes that it'll come back. Just like comic book characters never die, series never die either. So I'm hoping that there is hope for a revival in that comic. And speaking of revivals, it has to be on the list, right? Revival by Tim Seeley and Mike Norton. I think Tim Seeley is the only person to make this list twice. I'm going to say that, and then I'm going to prove myself wrong, but I think. So this is Revival. And it is really good. I really like Revival. It's set in Wisconsin, which is not that far away from me. So if this actually happened, it would be very interesting. It is sort of it's not a zombie story, and it's not like an undead story, but it's just like these people that can't, like, if they die, they sort of just come back. Like, they can't forever die, unless you basically, like, go, like, witchcraft on them and cut their head up and, like, burn all of the pieces and stuff. But it's very time consuming, it's very hard to do, and then there's still not a complete chance that they're actually going to stay dead. And it's sort of just how people deal with it, and how the revivers themselves deal with it. And it's just so many different stories. They come together. It shows every side of what's going on, and I like it. And even in a time where there's chaos. There's still people selling things on the black market. They're still dealing with animals, which is one of the saddest things. Like, I don't like when animals are killed for no reason. So that last issue made me really sad, and I'm going to talk about it in another video. So, Revival, everybody, go and read it. This one has to be on everybody's list. Everybody that I know has included this on their top whatever list of the year, and that is Superior Spider-Man. A lot of people said they weren't going to read this. They weren't going to read it. Whenever they killed Peter Parker, it was such a travesty in their mind that they were not going to read Superior Spider-Man. I almost didn't get a copy of the first issue at my store because he didn't order very many, because so many people told him, I'm not going to buy this. Guess what? They bought it, and guess what? They loved it. Dr. Octavius has done such a good job at being Peter Parker and being Spider-Man. He has his mind, and so all of his, like, genius thoughts that are up there. He knows how villains think, which makes him better at defending them. He also he's more ruthless than Spider-Man, Peter Parker Spider-Man was. So he sort of is more effective at getting them to listen to what he's doing, to take them out for good. All of that. But he also still has his flaws. He sometimes isn't very nice to his companions. He just completely forgets about them. He sort of has to remember that Peter Parker was not was not like this genius, brilliant mind, and so for him to all of a sudden be this brilliant scientist who's just gotten his doctorate and everything, he sort of has to play down his intelligence to sort of make people not completely suspicious, and it's something that he's sort of failing at. He might not know all that's going on, or he might, I'm not sure. But Peter Parker is about to be discovered to be dead. I don't know if it's going to be in this Darkest Hours arc or if it's going to be in the arc after, but they're in the process of, like, exposing him. So it'll be interesting to see in 2014 what happens to Superior Spider-Man, because it's a really great series, and whether Slott's writing it or Gage is taking the lead on a certain issue, it's always been consistent. And the one thing that I like most about it is that every single person that puts Spider-Man in their comic has been able to capture the sameness of Superior Spider-Man. Like, he's always sort of written the same way, which is not something that you get in a lot of comic books. But, like, the whole, like, Marvel universe has come together and, like, written him in this way that's so, like, it's him. It's just the character is the character, and you can't deviate. So that's really good, and I'm really glad that it's been what it has been, that it wasn't a complete flop, because that would have just not been good. And top 3, not really in any particular order. X-Men, just regular X-Men. I really like it. I really like what they're doing with Jubilee and all of that. I'm really excited to see her back, and I like her character. I don't know. I like X-Men. I like the way it's drawn. If this was like all new X-Men, I don't think I would like the artwork, but for just X-Men, I really like it. I like Wolverine's character in it. I like Jubilee in it. I like all of them, like all of the things. I like Shogo. Like, he's like one of my favorites, like little baby Shogo. I'm really excited to see, like, that he grows up to become like the greatest mutant or superhero or whatever of all time. So I'm really looking forward to see, like, all of that. So I don't know. X-Men is probably like one of my favorite, like, X-Men titles. I read all of them pretty much, so I had to pick one, and that's the one that I picked. Okay, Saga. Can't have this list for me without Saga. This is a book that I had to start reading the trades, and then I started reading the single issues, and I love it. I love every part of Saga. It's so emotional, and I like how it's told from the point of a baby. She is sort of the narrator and tells, like, the story of her parents and sort of what they've gone through to get to whatever point she is now. And I hope that the series lasts until it sort of reaches the point of her narrating. So that means I hope that it lasts many, many, many years. I don't want it to stop ever. And that's just my opinion. Lion Cat is my favorite. One day I'll have a lion cat tattoo, and it will be awesome. I want a lion cat print. Fiona Staples does really good on the artwork, and I really love all of it. Brian K. Vaughan does really good too on the writing. Saga has won so many awards this year. I feel like that is the comic of the year, is Saga, because it has won pretty much every award that it has been nominated for. And it has been nominated for a lot of awards, and I really, really like Saga. I think it's brilliant. It's like my favorite. I'm gonna say it's pretty safe to say that Saga is my favorite Image title. I know I really like Revival, and I go on about Revival a lot, and I read a lot of Image stuff, but I think Saga right now is my favorite Image title. And my last comic to talk about, I haven't talked about it, and I feel like I talk about it a lot, so it shouldn't be a surprise, but Rachel Rising. Not only is this on my top comics for 2013, but if I had like a most underrated comics for 2013, this would be the #1 comic. It is so underrated. A lot of people don't read it, but a lot of comic stores still carry it because they know that it's good. Terry Moore is in the process of trying to figure out what he wants to do with it, if he wants to cancel it, if he wants to continue with it. So now, once again, as I'm always saying every time I talk about it, now is a perfect time to get it, to carry on and read. I think there are 3 of the trade paperbacks out right now, and then the single issues. They usually come out monthly, but you know, he does all of this himself, so the only deadline that he really has is himself. He writes it, he illustrates it, his wife publishes it, so it's not like, you know, it's like a family business, and that's what I love about it. Abstract Studios is the people that do it, and that's like him and his wife pretty much. So I really like it. It's black and white, and if you like Strangers in Paradise and you liked Echo, which I really, really loved Echo, they're in the process of making Rachel Rising into a television show. I think Echo would be a fantastic show as well. But it's all black and white, but it's all awesome. Like the artwork, this technically is like a horror comic, and the story is kind of out there and kind of crazy, but the artwork is what really brings it home and what really makes it as creepy as it is. And I would just recommend everybody getting it. It's sort of like a mixture of Revival and I don't even know what you mix it with, but it's something like Rachel and her friend Jet have sort of been they've died, and they come back to life basically because there is another spirit inside of them. And at first it sort of goes on with Rachel trying to figure out, you know, what happened to her, why she's not dead. She should be. No one believes, you know, that she's not dead, but she isn't. And sort of realizing that later on, you sort of get flashbacks into the past with some of like the witch trials of that era and things, and sort of you learn that the reason that she's probably not dead is because there are other spirits inhabiting her, and she doesn't have powers, but she may I wouldn't be surprised if she developed some sort of powers. Like she's sort of a witch now, so who knows? She has the power at least to make her aunt Johnny's spirit go into a dog. So if she has that kind of power, who knows what's gonna happen with it? But I really like it, and I think it's really good. So you guys should all go and read it, and tell everyone about it. You can get it digitally on Comixology. You can buy the trades, or you can buy the single issues. But finding, you know, the first few is going to be a little difficult. You're going to have to eBay them and probably pay a little bit of money. But Terry Moore is one of the greatest people to watch at a convention because he's always at his table. He's always available. He's like the nicest guy. He will call your mom if you want him to call your mom and talk to her. Like, I've seen him do it, and he's just so personable. He's so approachable. He's not scary at all. Unlike some comic people, like, just go to conventions to make money, and he's literally just there to meet fans and hang out and have a good time. So I really like that about him, and he's one of my favorite people. Like, I hope he goes to all conventions ever because I just want him to be everywhere. So that is my favorite comics of 2013. Feel free to comment below and let me know what your favorite comics of 2013 were. I don't know if you guys can still do video responses, but if so, feel free to do one. Like, I'll watch it. It'll be a fun time. So until 2014, the end of, this is my last best of 2013 countdown. Like I said, next year I will try to have single issues and things. I had the Relic one this year, but that's about it. So I'll see you guys next year, which is tomorrow. So bye.